Hello! So today we're gonna go over an older VOD, a little bit older. It's still on the current patch, but this was earlier in the patch, right when I was trying to figure out some stuff. When I end up trying to play towards a 6 Invoker here, and I end up with an AZIR carry just because I don't end up hitting Lilia. My original plan was just based on like first augment, I take the Invoker augment and I decide, okay, I'm gonna try and play 6 Invoker, try it out, test it out. I don't think it was particularly strong, right? In my head I was thinking like there's a lot of good Lilia comps, right? It's like day 1 of the patch or day 2 of the patch. Lilia comps are really strong. Let's try a variation where you're just playing vertical Invoker with Lilia carry. It didn't really work out as planned, but it was still a top 4. So take this with a grain of salt. You can watch me go over this, kind of explain my thought process throughout the way, and kind of learn about what's going on and how to play this stuff. So I start this game early off with a Kog'Maw. So I have like a nice little sniper build. This whole patch, or this whole set, sorry, I've never been able to play a sniper, like the sniper reroll, like the Kog'Maw reroll. So that's, I'm always looking for an angle for it, but it just never feels like a good decision. So this game, I'm always angling for it because I would like to do at least one video. It's kind of passe now, like everybody kind of knows the line, so it's not like I'm going to be like really shocking saying Kog'Maw reroll. So let's go through the augment selection. I don't really like... Ascension is probably the best take here. Ethereal Blades, I don't have any Shen items, so it feels very far away, right? Like I have neither any Shens nor Shen items for this. So I decided to take Mana Shield, right? I'm like, okay, let's just try and play like an Invoker game, right? It gives me a Janna, and I already have a Kog'Maw too. So I can just play towards Invoker line. I look around, I see that there's another guy that's like Kog'Maw reroll, so I'm probably not playing towards that. Magic Wand is probably the strongest take here, because Magic Wand is the most flexible, as well as it's probably the strongest in general, respective of, what's it called? I can make Shojin here. The Magic Wand is actually really strong because if you're playing towards like a Lilia line or an AP line, like a Sage Morgana line, it not only gives you a rod, which would have given me... like if I was playing towards Lilia, obviously this was very early on, so I wasn't as certain, but basically what you would do is you would make like Shojin JG and you'd slam them on the Kog'Maw, and then you'd hold an extra Kog'Maw, and then you just play towards Lilia, and not like necessarily hard forcing it, but like basically just playing towards like that AP line. Let's go like right around here. Oh, so I'll do the little sub thing. Thank you for all the support. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We're gonna have an RP giveaway at 500 subs. We just finished our previous giveaway, so make sure to subscribe if you want to be entered in that, and follow the instructions when we get close to our goal. Thank you. Alright, and I'm trying to get stats open, but I can't find my stats tab. Here we go. So now let's just look at exactly what I'm talking about. So like if we go like Magic Wand, it averages like a 4.35, and let's just say we play towards Lilia and we go Lilia 2. It's like a 3.66. It is very strong with Lilia. Just playing like the Lilia board. This is an insane average, so Magic Wand is actually an incredibly strong augment, and I should have taken it for sure, right? If we just go Lilia 2, it's already like a 3.8. The unit's kind of broken right now. I think if you have AP items and you're not angling Lilia, you're kind of trolling, you're throwing the game. And if you look at like the build path, like, you know, there's different build versions of the boards that you can build. One of them, let's say I put 6 Invoker here, right? It doesn't increase by as much, right? I think 4 Invoker might be even more. Oh no, 6 Invoker does seem pretty high. I'm not sure exactly. Let's go with augments, right? So Midnight Siphon, we don't have to worry about. These ones are just like the broken ones, right? All of these hero augments are extremely fucking broken right now, just because they buffed like a lot of the frontline traits. So now it became like a fact that like if you just play any of these and it doesn't matter what your backline is, they're so broken. Learning to spell, obviously, because you just want like more AP. Combat caster, and you see Magic Wand, it's pretty high up, right? If we go like Mana Shield, 3.89, it literally doesn't budge, it doesn't move, right? And if you go like Mana Shield and you go like 6 Invoker, It's like it takes so much effort to, like, you know, this is what I was thinking of doing, but it's not necessarily that strong, right? Compared to like Magic Wand, right? Like Magic Wand off rip just makes your average placement go up a lot higher. Obviously, I'm like considering I get a Lilia 2, I might never hit a Lilia 2. But this Mana Shield augment is actually not that good, right? You would think it's like really, like, just reading on it, basically like it gives like a shield based on like the Invoker casting and whatnot. But it actually is like look at how like it's very low on the list, right? It was like a 3.89. It's like the same as like a Bruiser Crest. You know what I mean? It's the same as playing Lilia with Lucky Ricochet. Like, put that into perspective. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very not good. Anyways, when you're playing Lilia, the main set of items that you want to play are typically like Shojin JG, right? Oh, it says Rabadon's here. Usually I just make like Shojin JG, right? Like, I like the crit on the backline. Jewel Gauntlet's pretty good. It says blue buff is better, but that's like based on how many invokers you have, right? Because Lily's Invoker, so it gives her extra mana. So you reach different mana thresholds if you play 2 Invoker versus 3 Invoker, right? So let's just go like craftable items, for example. Here it says Shojin is really good, right? And then if I put 4 Invoker, I can't spell. It will say that blue buff is a lot better, right? It just depends on how many invokers you're playing, right? And I think 6 Invoker blue buff is better, because you just want the cast to kill. Yeah, blue buff's way better, right? But typically you're just building like a crit items and whatnot. We're gonna go back to the game now. So I kind of have this little setup. I put an Ink Shadow to give me like an extra item, right? It's the Tattoo of Fury, so it's attack speed, which is okay on Kog'Maw, but sometimes with attack speed, Kog'Maw just misses because he's attacking too fast and the units are moving around too much in certain times. But basically I just have snipers in. I put an Ink Shadow. My front line's pretty weak, so I don't expect to keep this 5 streak, but you know, maybe I play somebody weak and I do. This guy's well fed with bruisers. It might be a little bit tough to beat him. And then I have the Janet in for the Invoker so that I get my Mana Shield. This is just like my early game board, right? This guy's really strong. I think he's already like 4 bruiser, right? So my front line can't beat his front line. A lot of the fights in early stages are determined by like how strong your front line is. I'm not sure if I could have played something better. Like, I could have played like an extra bruiser and lose like sniper. The Ink Shadow item was just really good. It just sucks because not even my my 1-stars are upgraded, right? I just didn't hit a frontline upgrade, which just kind of felt bad. Now, something that is different is that maybe it was played towards a loon, right? I should check the stats on that. Let me go. Loon 3. A Loon 3-star and then Mana Shield. No, it's really bad with her. It's actually plus delta. It's even worse than with Lilia. Yeah, this Mana Shield item, this Mana Shield augment is not that good. This is not something you should like structure your game around, right? Now, it makes sense like just to try and play vertical invokers here. And like I said, it's really early in the set. I end up making a Rabadon's, sorry, not a Rabadon's. I make a Morello just to have anti-heal. So now I just have to worry about shred components. The way my components worked out, I didn't want to make I didn't like save my rod to make, I didn't save my glove to make like a JG here. I just decided to make Steadfast to give myself a frontline item. The main reason was I was 4-streaking and I was trying to streak all the way into neutral, so slamming the items was like really important in my stage 2, right? A lot of times when you're stage 2, slamming items early might be like an overslam, right? Shojin is always going to be played, right? Even though blue buff sometimes is better on Lilia, right? Like, a Shojin as a mana item, it's still good, right? It might not be optimal, but you need at least 1 mana item. Technically with 6 Invoker, you might need no mana item if you're playing like straight up 6 Invoker, just because you gain so much mana from the trait. But Shojin is fine. Shojin is like the safe pick. Blue buff is the situational pick. So sometimes Shojin is worse than blue buff, but it will always be like a good mana item. Blue buff sometimes is like a grief. Like sometimes it just doesn't work well on a unit. It's just based on like the thresholds, right? If it's divisible by 15, usually Shojin is good. That's because like attacks grant 10 mana, and then Shojin grants an extra 5 at the start. So then if you're divisible by 15, so if you're like 75 for example, then that extra 5 comes from the Shojin, and then you're fine, right? Here I go for Invoker Crown. There's Radiant Refractor, which I was thinking maybe I could just make like Radiant Shojin or something like that. The reason I take this is because I'm like, with the emblem, it basically becomes guaranteed that you're gonna play 6 Invoker. So in my head, I'm like, okay, this is kind of in line with my game plan. I have this Invoker Augment, I have Invoker Spat, right? And it might not be like the meta line, right? At the time that I was playing this, I didn't know, right? Obviously, when I played, I was like, this is a lot weaker than I thought it would be. And then I read up on Lilia, I looked at the items, I looked at the stats, and it's like, okay, now I know how to play Lilia. I posted the Sage Lilia game. This was an older VOD, so I was holding it, that I'm like, maybe I'll post it, maybe I won't, because, you know, I eventually posted the Lilia Sage video on my channel, which you can check out, where I discuss and describe that line and give you, like, guys, a whole full board breakdown and whatnot. This week I'm just a little bit busy, so I'm going through some of these older VODs. They're still interesting and fun, but these are things that you can do, right? Especially if you're in, I don't know how to phrase it, especially if you're in lobbies where not everybody is playing like the most broken, strongest board all the time, and you have a little bit more flexibility to play more like unique boards, more unique traits. This is an idea of something that can happen, right? With augment tailoring, right? Like I have Invokers in, so it's very likely that I'll hit like Invoker Crown if Prismatic pops up. Even if you don't hit Invoker Crown, you can play 6 Invoker without the emblem. It just becomes really hard because then you have to hit an AZIR, and you kind of have to play this really like specific board. Here it's like I have the option of playing other stuff. The thing that I would say though is because I have Invoker Crown, it would have been nice to get Dryad in early. With the Invoker Crown, when you have Dryads, you can at least scale up one of your Dryads to be like a stronger front line, right? Because you can put like Invoker on what's his name? You can put Invoker emblem on Ornn and for late game basically, and then play like a Behemoth and something like that. What this also means is that if you hit the AZIR and you hit all of the strong units, and if you're playing like in a capped way around the AZIR carry, you can even drop the Kog'Maw altogether because you don't need all of the Invokers. Yep. So here there's a lucky Ricochet player. That's totally fine. I don't know if I think I'll be contested Lilia just because people are playing towards Lilia. I think in this game I end up hitting AZIR 2 before I find Lilia, which is kind of crazy. But anyways, we're playing very tempo, right? I do have like strong augments, and I took a spat augment. Usually like when you take a spat augment, it might not be like strong, like sometimes it spikes you, sometimes it doesn't. In this case it didn't necessarily spike me, but I am a high HP, right? I won most of stage 2, and that's why, right? My board isn't particularly strong. I was just very strong for stage 2 because remember my board, even though I didn't have frontline upgrades, I basically had like Sniper, Kog'Maw 2 with Invoker and the Mana Shield, which helps, which even though my frontline still isn't upgraded, by the way, but the Mana Shield helps out with the frontline because it makes it that like I have Umbrelin, which gives a little bit of shield, and then the Mana Shield, every time the Invoker's cast, it gives a little bit of a shield to the front line, right? So that definitely helps. I also got, with the Invoker Crown, the thing that's great about, like, sometimes with these augments, they don't necessarily work out, but they work out really well when they give, usually, like, okay, how do I phrase it? You hear Invoker Crown, right? You're obviously getting an emblem, right? The emblem is the important part. That's why you're taking the augment. The thing that works nicely is that sometimes the emblem augments give you units and or items that help your team out, right? And those are the things that you look for to make sure that, is this a good spot to take it, right? It's really easy to be like, Unga Bunga, we take emblem, I play this, I hard force it, right? But in this case, it works out really well because it also gave me a Rabadons, right? That's an extra item for my Kog'Maw. I don't have to worry about getting another Rod item. I basically have a complete item set, right? If I want to put Morello on my carry, which sometimes happens, right? It's not the worst item. Usually you split up utility on one unit and you just put max damage on another unit. But I do have a complete trio of item sets for a carry. Now I could focus on frontline items. It makes it like a lot easier to worry about, right? If I get a Rod, right? Let's say I get the Rod. I don't know how to draw a Rod. right? Another thing is like if I get a rod or a tier, I can now make shred components, right? I can either make a static shiv or I can make a spark, ionic spark, right? So what ends up happening is I don't have to worry about making that last item on the carry because I got the Rabadons from the Invoker's crown. In this case, it gave a Janna, I believe. I already had Janna, so I didn't really matter. It would have been nice if it gave me like some Invoker that I didn't have. I'm still 3 Invoker. I could level up and play 4 Invoker, but at this point, I don't think the Invoker is the problem. This guy's level 7. I don't know if he was like Fortune cash out already. He's Tiniest Titan, Scoreboard Scrapper, and he has an AZIR, and like I guess he just cashed out Fortune. I don't know how it was such a big Fortune cash out though. Like 2 5 costs, I guess was his cash out. He got a Zaya, like lucky dude. But yeah, now I'm kind of playing the 4 Invoker line. I could have done this. Should I have done this last turn? Yeah, I could have done this like last turn, right? Why was I 3 Invoker for so long? I'm gonna go back 1 second. What was my board the previous round? Why am I 3 Invoker? I took out Janna for Rek'Sai for Bruiser. Oh, I was just trying to make a little bit more front line. Oh, I skipped too far ahead. I'm sorry. That's a spoiler. Okay, let's... where was I? I was somewhere here. Okay, there we go. So this is what I was saying, right? Now I could probably make Nashers safely. But the problem is, like, I don't have Shred. Alun gives a little bit of Shred, so it's not the end of the world. I'll probably play Alun on my board, so it's okay. I wonder if it's ever play Silas in this spot, right? Like if I was cooking, I would put like Silas with the Alun, but I guess Umbral doesn't really matter, right? The thing is, Umbral, what it does, it gives a little bit of shield, but Umbral doesn't matter that much with the mana shield augment, because this mana shield augment, I'm shielding the allies anyways. So like it's kind of like diminishing returns. What I was saying is I could play like Kench, Lilia, Silas, +1 Bruiser as my like front line, and then I could Invoker Emblem on Silas and it'll kind of go nuts. Bard player with 2 greater dupes. This is like, gonna be one of those wild games because there's like a Fortune cash out, there's all sorts of shit. Okay, let's see what my last augment is. Another Prismatic. I don't mind Jeweled Lotus 3 here. I think Jeweled Lotus 3 is probably the best thing to take. It's not Roll the Dice for sure. It's not Bulk. Yeah, I'm just taking Jeweled Lotus every day of the week. Okay, so we get an Ornn. I level to 8 and I do my roll down. Let's watch the roll down. Let's see what we're holding on to. I find a Lilia. Oh, I do find a Lilia. Okay. Oh, I find an AZIR. Oy. Yeah, AZIR, Ornn. I should play some other behemoth. Like, this Yorick is probably better than this, right? Yeah. Oh, the problem is I need to switch this Kog'Maw out. Do I use my lesser... I should use my lesser duplicator on the Kog'Maw and then just switch the items over to the AZIR. Yeah, that was a pretty bad thing. There was a lot to do that round, though. So, like, this... Like, I'm not really going for Alun 3 in this setup, nor am I really going for... Like, I already have most of my shitters upgraded, right? I should just use this to make another Kog'Maw. Because, like, technically you want to play Annie, so, like, I'm probably going to lose the Kog'Maw for Annie anyways. But Kog'Maw is mythic, so it's pretty good to keep in. Yeah, now I'm kind of running over everybody with the damage right now. But this, like, I can put these items on either AZIR or Lily, and I'd probably do a lot better. My health is starting to get a little bit risky, right? It took me a little bit of time to get to this spot. Back 3 rows. Okay, I should roll for Annie at least, right? Oh, another AZIR. We love to see that. Oh, I found the Annie. Oh, this is kind of awkward though, because now I lose Mythic. Man. I should just duplicate the Kog'Maw, because I want to play Kog'Maw on my board, right? Okay, I put item here. I'm just itemizing AZIR. Ugh, that's not that great. I'm AZIR pair, but the chances are I'll probably hit Lilia first. I don't even think these items are the greatest on AZIR. Usually AZIR you want like a little bit more like explosive damage. But that's fine. A loon with the execute could maybe come in clutch. That's why I have her cornered, but it might be like frontline the Alun a little bit. I don't know. This doesn't look that weak. The AZIR is very strong, but I think over this Janna, it's definitely play the oh, I'm getting rolled by this guy. Wait. Oh, this is just Syndra board. Yeah, that makes sense. He just has a lot of upgrades. He has a set as well. I really need a cog. Like the Kog'Maw is a problem. Not having the Kog'Maw is really bad. I should just use my lesser duplicator. Oh wait, do I get a 0-2 off this? That'd be pretty sick. Oh nice, I get a 0 off carousel. Okay, so it was itemized at 0 just because I was lucky. Alright, so a 0-2. No, this I remember having a 0-2 before Lilia in this game. I just didn't know how I got there. I just found 2 on my roll down, so it's really high roll to find the AZIR so early. But typically, instead of this AZIR, you would have a Kog'Maw here and the Lilia. And this is what I was saying before. Does this Ornn really matter? I don't think the Behemoth matters. Honestly, I think you should probably play a Bruiser in place of this guy. Like, Silas might fit in a lot better on this board. You know what I mean? AZIR, I'm not sure where to place AZIR. Typically, you want to place Lilia in the center because the way her scatter shot works is that you get more value if she's not cornered. So if your Lilia is safe, you usually put her here. But if she's your main carry and you need to keep if she's your main carry and you're worried that she's not safe, then you can put her in the corner anyways. AZIR, I remember it being like the same thing because AZIR kind of does this beam, right? That he kind of like beams across. So if you want to like hit like all the frontline units, you usually put him in the middle. See, so he gets like max value because sometimes here he whiffs or he doesn't hit all the frontline units. He just hits like 1 or 2 of them. So like I think that was like the positioning. So that's why I have the AZIR closer to the middle, just because like it might be archaic tech. Maybe that's not what people do anymore. I think the lobby is very high roll. I remember this being a lot weaker than it was. I think I just lose out because I don't have any upgrades, right? Like my only upgraded front line is Tom Kench, and I'm very broke, right? I'm donkey rolling for like something here. Ooh, increased player health is bad for me. Like, even though I'm low player health, I want some of these guys to die as soon as possible. Because, like, I can win on matchmaking kind of sometimes, but not really. Also, I really think Umbral is wasted here. Like, it's honestly really, yeah, there we at least play a better Behemoth. Ooh, I put Lily in the middle. I'm kind of not sure where to shuffle my units. I lose the execute on the Alun, but I don't think it matters that much. Honestly, I think Silas would have been nice to have in here. I'm also not slamming Hodge or anything, but I think that's just because I want to make like Lilia items. So I'm saving the blue buff. I'm saving the tier to make like a typical mana item, either Adaptive Helm, blue buff, or Shojin for Lilia, and like establish like a dual carry. Considering my my item economy looks like it's really bad, but I think that's just because I itemized this Alun, so it looks like I'm down an item, right? Because like this emblem gave me an extra item, right? So you would think that I would look like I have a shit ton of items, and I also have an Ornn that's dropping items. It's just a little bit awkward. In terms of unit placement, I think I'm okay here. Like the Lilia maybe shouldn't be in the corner. It's probably like Jan and Lilia swap spots, but the Lilia isn't really doing anything right now. Right, like if you have 3-item Lilia, like sure, she's gonna kind of go infinite. Okay, so what's the board at? There's like a Radiant item Kaisa. Like this guy's just so fucking strong. Is this? I think that's just a Syndra player, right? Like was playing Syndra from win streak and then found a set and just going straight to 9. I still have to roll here though, right? My board isn't stable. Well, I guess I have Ornn 2 now. I might be stable. Damn, no, it's Shojin, but this is awkward items. I might like I need Shiv, right? I don't have Shred. Can we agree it's Shiv? Yeah. Just put the items on Alun for now. It's Lilia 1. I'll probably switch over items once I hit Alun. Like Alun's really strong, but I think I'll switch over. Was it double adaptive? Was it double steadfast? The Ornn? I don't know if it stacks, right? Nah, it's probably just split up. Splitting up is greedier, right? Splitting up is greedy because obviously, like, you want to stack multiple items on the same unit because the items like stockpile. It becomes like exponential. Who the fuck killed me? Lucky Ricochet. 2 dupes. What? Oh, this is the dupe guy. Is this the guy that cashed out the Zaya? It just went straight to 9. I don't know what this guy is. He's level 8 and he has like legendaries. This guy's playing a better Lilia board. Everybody has AZIR, so it's nice that I already got my AZIR too. But if you look at this board, everybody's playing AZIR and Lilia. So I don't think I'm ever hitting this Lilia. So I'm just primary AZIR carry. AZIR is so much worse than Lilia. I think the 6 Invoker setup might work if I was able to hit Lilia 2 and I was fully itemized Lilia, right? Like if I had this setup and this was a Lilia 2 and in place of this Janna was a Kog'Maw, so I had 3 mythic. Isn't this just like a winning position? I feel like it's not as bad as I thought it was. Right, like at the beginning of the game, I was like, yo, this shit's like so bad. And it's not like one of the best lines you can play with this Lilia unit. And it's definitely not, but this is totally an option. Right? Like I'm stable around AZIR too, but that's just because I high rolled this shit. I guess you are contesting the Lilia. I guess if you're hard forcing Lilia this hard, like wouldn't you just hit Lilia instead? I'm kind of greeding to go 9. The reason I'm going 9, like typically you wouldn't want to go 9 in a spot like this, right? I don't look like I'm particularly strong relative to the lobby. The problem is that like 2 people have Lilia 2 and another person's holding Lilias, right? So it's like the chance of me hitting this Lilia are very low anyways. I just want to cap my board out at level 9. Try and fit something in, right? I can either find a mythic, I can put in a Dragon Lord as well, right? I'm 1 out of 3 exalted. There's a chance I can play exalted. Right, because it depends who the exalteds are, because I can easily lose this Udyr for exalted, right? It's probably comparable in skill. Oh, the guy in the lead isn't even the Syndra player. This is the Syndra player. Who's this guy? Like, what is this guy's board? I'm curious. It might also be corner AZIR now, just to keep AZIR safe, right? Like, who cares about the extra beam value? Also, how the fuck did this guy just one-shot everything? That's an AZIR 1. How come my AZIR doesn't do that? Like, what the fuck? Did you see that? It looked almost like a bug. Honestly, a frontline item would be good. Yeah, I'll take Declaw with Lilia. That sounds great. Declaw is pretty good here. Right, when you're making tank items, you want to make components with both sides, depending on what your lobby is. This lobby is a mix of AD and AP, obviously, right? So for me, when I look at this board, or when I look at this, this lobby, this is a chain vel item, and then this is a cloak item, right? So chain item, cloak items, so you get some armor resistances, like not talking about the ability of the item afterwards. Also, I found another fucking AZIR on 8. Like, hello? Also, I can put Hui in as my next in. I'm rolling here because I'm 20 HP, right? It's gonna take me at least 2 turns to make it to level 9. I don't think I'm making it there. I rolled past a Lilia. Do you see me? I'm pissed off. Do you see me shaking my mouse? Like, I was just so like, oh no. I found 2 Nautilus. So maybe I can put in the Nautilus after. I should hold 1 extra Alloon though. Oh, that's kind of rough. Because I don't have the econ to hold this Alloon. I'll have to break 10. Yeah, but I would have had Lilia 2. If this might be a Lilia 2 diff. Look, isn't this a Lilia 2 diff? Imagine if I had Lilia 2 with items. Oh my god. I was just rolling so fast because I was so stressed, and then you saw me like I instantly like regretted it. Like as soon as I rolled, I was like moving my mouse around. I remember hitting the Lilia the next turn though. Like I think I hit Lilia here because I think one of the Lilia people holding Lilia died or something. I switch out Tom Kench for Nautilus. Ooh, it probably wasn't Tom Kench for Nautilus. I do hold the extra Alloons. I have this lesser duplicators. You know what the problem was? All the way back when I said I should have duplicated the Kog'Maw, I should have duplicated the Kog'Maw. Right? I think duplicating the Kog'Maw would have been so much better. And also, I could have played like 5 Mythic here. Like, fuck the Ornn. 5 mythic with like an actual front line. Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes this game, but they're not like crazy mistakes. They're just like a lot of like paper cut mistakes, right? That kind of squeeze out a lot of placements. Yeah, like I'm beating this guy. This one's the fortune cash out. Yeah, so I could beat this guy. I just can't beat the I can't beat the Syndra player ever. It's just like a really bad matchup. It's just so fucking strong and so tanky the front line. I can't break through it fast enough. So I think because I'm 1 life, I shouldn't be 1 life. I should be 2 lives, right? I trolled that one fight because I didn't hit the Lilia 2, right? Items on Lilia 2. Lilian is so broken. Also, having Mythic in would have been so good. And I never found another Kog'Maw. I probably rolled past the Kog'Maw. I didn't look at the roll down. But I'm not gonna go back to check it. Probably Adaptive Helm, just a mana item. Okay, get my Lilia 2. Yeah, Celalune. But you see what I mean? Look at this duplicator, right? This duplicator has been on my bench the whole time, right? Now I'm duplicating this Alune, right? I could have had a Kog'Maw and have a Mythic in, right? This Lilia would have been Mythic stacked already. Yeah, and I just put Lilia in the corner here. I'm trying to keep the Lilia safe. AZIR is a little bit tankier because of Dryad stack, so I'll put him in the fray. I think I beat this guy, right? Actually, it's Ashe level 9. Like, he hit everything. But he's not playing 4 Warden. Oh, the Silas Wrap might have done me in. Okay, Silas went back to the middle. Oh, yeah, I beat this guy. Yeah, I'm so much stronger now with the Lilia. I'm sure the Lilia is doing, like, almost as much damage as the AZIR if I look at it. I didn't look at it, but I'm sure the Lilia is doing equal to or more damage than AZIR. This AZIR unit, like, he's not fake. I wouldn't say he's like a bad unit, but I would say like compared to like Lilia, it's not worth shit. Yeah, I think I just never beat the this faded guy. This faded guy is way too strong. Faded guy just hit set 2 as well. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna lose instantly. Yeah, that's probably the end of the fight. I'm curious to see why this faded fight is so bad. I have Nautilus 2 now, so maybe I can get a stun off on the Syndra. Let's see. Also, sorry about the music. My playlist kind of looped into a different playlist. So, but I don't want to tab out. I want to just focus on seeing what happens this fight. Yeah, so Set is just unkillable. Who did he faded pair, by the way? Let me see. Is he doing like a sustain one? He's faded pair. No, he's just full damage. It's AP with Ahri. It's double Radiant item Ornn, I think, is the problem. Oh, you know what I think this is? I think this was before B patch. This fight's before B patch, so Ornn's still busted. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I just can't chew through the Ornn, and he has so much damage with the Syndra. Syndra also scales with the yeah, so it's just a 4th. This is what I'm saying. Like, I think I'm a lot more competitive if I played a different Lilia board, right? Like, imagine if I took Magic Wand at the start and I had like a Gunblade, or sorry, a JG, right? Like, if I took Magic Wand all the way at the start, I definitely squeak out placements. I missed the Lilia, obviously. That cost me 1 life, right? I would have been 1 more life. I probably could have gone 3rd, but I'm always second to that faded guy. I don't think I ever beat him because I'm just too far behind. And this duplicator stayed on my bench the whole round, right? Whenever you have a lesser duplicator, you shouldn't make this be like a teachable moment, right? I do this sometimes. Like, sometimes I just forget. Like, sometimes when I have a consumable on my bench, my biggest problem is that I forget about them, right? Like, there's so many times where I'll have like a remover or a reforger and I'll just forget that it's there. And I think that's what happens, because sometimes you're just like, you put it to the back area, you're like, yeah, I have a duplicator, I don't have any use for it, and you just kind of leave it there. The use was that I had to duplicate this Kog'Maw, because then I would have had 3 Mythic in. It would have made my front line a little bit tankier, which can help some of the fights, right? This Janna doesn't really matter, right? I'm not level 9 playing Dragon Lord, right? And the Janna, I already have an extra copy, right? Like, by then, like, it's a lot easier to find the Janna. Not finding the Kog'Maw because there was like another Mythic player, it's really bad. Because the Kog'Maw being Mythic would have had this Lilia upgraded, And then even if I got, eventually when I hit 2-star Lilia, she would have been like mythic evolved, right? Even if I had to swap out the Tom Kench for a Nautilus, I still would have had that option. So that's really important to note. So that's what you should always look for, right? When you have a lesser duplicator, it's not only like hitting an upgrade, it's also just like making sure you have a copy of a unit, right? You can use it almost like in place of a magnetic remover on shitter units, right? Like I could have done the same thing with like a loon, for example. If I had like a Lilia 2 and an Aloon, right? In order to keep my 6 Invoker, I don't have to roll for a new Aloon. I can just use the duplicator on the Aloon, get a new Aloon, put the items on the Lilia, right? Because if you're having like a no item synergy bot unit, it's like it doesn't matter if it's upgraded right away. You can upgrade it later, right? It really doesn't matter that much. But I think that was the bigger mistake, because I think that would have saved me a lot of HP. Not like a lot of HP, but it would have helped me a lot in these like couple fights this round, right? And I might have been able to go 9 off of it, right? Because I was basically like 1 or 2 fights off of going 9, so then I had to roll down on 8, and that kind of solidified my 4th. And also there might have been a way to like if I saved that 1 life with the Lilia. But yeah, hopefully this was a fun game. Like I said, you know, we looked at the stats. These aren't like the greatest augments, not like the greatest things to play around. But this is like another option, you know, if you hit it and you're playing towards invokers and you have an invoker crown. You can play like this. Usually you don't hit AZIR this early, so you're trying to go level 9 to get the AZIR 2. But anyways, thank you for watching, and hopefully this was enjoyable. See you.